All right, let's see if we can lay this one down. This is Radio Free Canada. Hi there, I'm Darren Howard. This is an adult radio station, okay? We're going to use adult language. We're going to talk about adult subject matter very plainly. So if you're too young or you're easily offended, we advise you turn the radio off now. And I do mean that one, okay? Now here's another warning for you, all right? If you're heavy left-wing or heavy right-wing, we advise you turn the radio off because we are going to talk about a center-wing millennial approach to COVID, the government, and our taxes. We're going to talk about laws, about censorship on the internet, and we're going to talk about safety. But if you're really heavy-duty right-wing or left-wing, realize we're not asking you to agree with us. We're just asking you to consider some serious questions about COVID and the government all at once. And then we're going to talk about how much nonsense we hear on mainstream news. CNN's got to be the best one for it. And I'm going to run this one right away because this just kills me.
Right, the votes are in. Oxford opened up its choice of the 2022 Word of the Year to online voters. First time, actually, that they did that in history. The word of the year is, quote, goblin mode, defined as a type of behavior which is unapologetically self-indulgent, lazy, slovenly, or greedy, typically in a way that rejects social norms or expectations. So to talk more about this, let's bring in CNN's...
No. Let's not bring in an expert to talk about goblin mode. Oh, we're going to go on a roller coaster today. Yes, we are. So buckle up and get ready to scream. Well, okay, you don't have to get ready to scream, but get ready to smile. You are tuned in to Radio Free Canada. Okay, let's ask the question. Let's just do it right now, okay? Just to set you up for the center wing. The vaccine was supposed to prevent mortalities, acquisition, or transmission of the coronavirus. But we didn't see a reduction in mortalities, acquisition, or transmission of the virus. So if the vaccine statistically didn't work, shouldn't we get our money back? I'm just wondering, because I get my money back when my pizza's late by 5 minutes. I want my money back. Billions of dollars. They went from vaccines save lives to vaccines lessen the effect of the coronavirus. That's how bad things are. Okay, for the next hour, I'm just inviting you to come and hang out. I am not going to tell you to trust me. I want you to think, because I'm going to rely on your intelligence. We're not going to promote one political party. We're not going to promote a government. We're not going to promote anything but you thinking. And I'm going to promote your natural immune system. That's all today on CFTG. Okay, we're just going to take a quick 3-minute break while I have something to drink, and then we can just think about it, okay? Shouldn't we get our money back? I'm just saying, it's kind of a thing. This is CFTG.
Mother, I don't wanna take my medicine. 24 years in the gutter again. I'm losing it. Everybody's acting like they're all alright. I can barely get myself to sleep at night. I'm sick of it. Yeah, I'm sick of it. Yeah, they said the tax man, I lost my job and you got hooked on oxycontin. take these pills. I'm sick of being okay against my will. I'm losing it. I'm losing it. Anything in this world that I'm gonna miss. It's all fake smiles and leather jackets. We're full of it. Yeah, we're full of shit. I don't know who to trust. Yeah, they said the tax man. I lost my job and you got hooked on oxycodone. They shut the lights off. They took the car and I bought a sawed-off shotgun. Yeah, they said the tax man. I lost my job and you got hooked on oxycodone. They shut the lights off. They took the car and I bought a sawed-off shotgun. I'm losing it. I bought a sawed-off shotgun. I'm losing it. I bought a sawed-off shotgun. I don't know who to trust. They need people like us. They took the car and I bought a sawed-off shotgun. Yeah, they said the tax man. I lost my job and you got hooked on oxycodone. They shut the lights off. They took the car and I bought a sawed-off shotgun. Yeah, they said the tax man. I lost my job and you got hooked on oxycodone. They shut the lights off. They took the car and I bought a sawed-off shotgun.
The Glorious Sons right here. That is such an excellent song, and it's such an encapsulation for it. I'm Darren Howard at CFTG. Welcome to the show. If you are new to the show, this is Center Wing Millennial Radio, where we talk about reality and not mainstream fantasy. We also use four-letter words, and we have Zen moments where we solve all of the world's problems. Once again, the opposite of mainstream. You're welcome to join me. This is the COVID show, and it's highlighting a couple of problems that we have in society that we need to fucking fix right now. Okay? One of the things, there's no freedom of assembly. There's no freedom of free speech. Number two, your opinion is being shouted down on the internet by the government. They're going to say you cannot have an opinion unless it's approved by the government on the internet. So that's the end of our free internet. That's happening right now. There's also a couple of other things happening, both nationally and internationally, regarding the COVID sphere that is a little bit, kind of smarmy, like corporate smarmy. Could we say profiteering smarmy? Could we say, just like yesterday, corporate nightmare bullshit, fucking price everything, absolutely out of control nonsense bullshit. Okay. The interesting news right around the board, and I do want to cover this right away. It is COVID related. I'm going to put two and two together. Danielle Smith, the premier of Alberta, okay, she made sure that the Alberta government secured millions of regular child remedies for cold and flu. Ibuprofen and, Tylenol and Advil, basically, is what the government went out and got. Had to go like, Yugoslavia or something like that to get it. What nonsense and bullshit that is. Let's all put our thinking caps on. Why did the government have to go way overseas to go and get something that's produced down in America? Anywho, so we've got our Advil and we've got our ibuprofen, Tylenol and ibuprofen coming for the kids. Millions of doses. And mainstream is trying to shout her down as being evil and being a bad person. That is happening right now. Now, number one, the United States, Australia, the UK, all these Commonwealth countries have cold medication, but Canada doesn't. And then mainstream, for the last month or 2 months that we've been out of cold medication, okay, just disappeared altogether, right off the shelves, empty shelves. Mainstream says, well, there's suddenly a jump of kids going to the hospital, and they've got the flu, and we're going to call it COVID. That's exactly what happened. Not one journalist on the planet. And then all of a sudden, and then Danielle Smith, the UCP premier of Alberta, brings in millions of doses of cold medication just for Alberta. BC and Ontario leave their population high and dry. And then they say Danielle Smith has a problem? So are you seeing, are you seeing this? Are we all seeing this? Did journalism die? What mainstream journalist pointed out the fact, that simple fact, that the rest of the world has cold medication, but we don't. And our mainstream news, CBC, Global, CTV, all of them say, oh, well, there's lots of kids in the hospital. We could be overwhelmed. I mean, the bullshit factor here is monumental. So that's center wing. What do you think? I'm going to draw that right to COVID after collective soul.
Give me a word, give me a sign. Show me where to look, tell me what will I find. What will I find? Lay me on the ground and fly me in the sky. Show me where to look, tell me what will I find. What will I find? Show me where to look, tell me what will I find? What will I find? Lay me on the ground and fly me in the sky. Show me where to look, tell me what will I find? What will I find?
there, CFTG, Collective Soul, you got it. Man, that is one of the best albums to come out in rock history ever. Hints, Allegations, and Things Left Unsaid, Collective Soul. Believe it or not, that was the second album that they recorded. In the bank, you know, they already had Gel. And then all of a sudden, you know, they're just recording, and then they come up with this one. And then, you know, the rest is history. Hints, Allegations come out. They go on tour. They're worldwide. And then they present Gel. Holy, that was really cool. Okay, this is what I mean by rock radio, CFTG. We actually know what we're talking about. And just because you're a long-haired, tattoo-wearing hippie, or you accept long-haired, tattoo-wearing hippies, you know, just because you accept real people doesn't mean you should be ignored. And that's what's happening in mainstream right now. The center wing that accepts both radical left-wing and radical right-wing as existing and having a point of view. That's what the center wing does. And that's what, you know, it's just not represented anywhere. You can't even look out there and go, oh, hey, look at that broadcast. Huffington Post, I always had a lot of hope for them. Democracy Now! Had a lot of hope for them. But it's still extremism, left-wing, right-wing. Everybody had conflict. Everybody not trying to get along like fucking in kindergarten. Have you noticed that? They just forgot about sharing, caring, putting up, and listening. Okay? They just fucking say, okay, well, you know, you gotta be polite as long as you're in the school system. But as soon as you get out, you have to be a radical nutbar to be listened to, and you gotta hate the other guy. Fuck that. You know what? I got right-wing friends, and I've got left-wing friends. And I've got left-wing friends that hate right-wing friends, literally, in real time. But they've got points of view, and they're valid. The guys who are over here, they're talking about the climate, the future, the economy, how we're fucked. Yeah, you got a point. The guys who are over on the right wing, you know, they're talking about government and fucking money, and we're fucked. Yeah. See how we agree on that one? And that's why we need a center wing point of view. A center wing point of view can put two and two together without being a radical fucking nutbar. You can say to yourself, hey, look, the vaccine didn't work. We should probably get our money back, and let's get an investigation going. Okay, that would be natural. But now it's just, oh, safety, safety, safety. Yeah, well, you didn't provide safety. Here's the kicker. You want to put it all together, just another math thing. Okay, just a common sense thing, not fucking radical nutbar left or right. Center wing. They got $600 billion handed to the medical industry. They canceled surgeries right across the board. They canceled services. They stopped heart testing. They stopped cancer testing. Most of us die from cancer, die from heart attacks and strokes. They stopped that testing altogether. They still paid the surgeons. They still paid all of the guys and the staff, and the administration still got bonuses. $600 billion alone just for the medical industry. Didn't build one more hospital or expand capacity to handle a pandemic. Apparently, we're $1 trillion in debt the millennials have to pay off, okay? They didn't expand capabilities. They fired staff, and they reduced capabilities right across the board. It kept saying to us ludicrous things like, the system will be overwhelmed. Nothing could be further from the truth. That did not happen. They reduced the system so that they can only handle 0.2% of the population going to the emergency room, where it used to be 3.7%, get that one right. 3.7% of the population used to go to the emergency room. Now only 2% can go to the emergency room. That's, 2 beds out per 1,000. Okay, I think that's 0.2. Is that right? Hey, look, I'm sorry. I got my math wrong, and now I got to go and double check. Just like you can jump online and say, how many hospital beds per 1,000 do we have now compared to 1973 when they got some really accurate statistics? And they started saying we have universal health care when we don't. When all they did was reduce the amount of health care we have, spend all their COVID money without building hospitals or even emergency treatment facilities. And now they're not prepared for any pandemics, but we're paying them more. So you just go ahead, you line me up, you just tell me exactly where the truth is on that one, and I'll talk to you straight out about COVID, the government, and monumental bullshit. 2 and 2. Now they're trying to say the system's overwhelmed with kids and COVID when they denied everybody common painkillers.
Is this the real life? Is this just fantasy? Caught in a landslide, no escape from reality. Open your eyes, look up to the skies and see. I'm just a poor boy, I need no sympathy, because I'm easy come, easy go. Little lore, any way the wind blows doesn't really matter to me. To me. Mama just killed a man, put a gun against his head, pulled my trigger, now he's dead. Mama, life had just begun, but now I've gone and thrown it all away. Mama, didn't mean to make you cry. If I'm not back again this time tomorrow, carry on, as if nothing really matters. Too late, my time has come. Sent shivers down my spine, body's aching all the time. Goodbye, everybody, I've got to go. Gotta leave you all behind and face the truth. Mama, ways the wind blows, I don't wanna die. Sometimes wish I'd never been born at I see a little silhouette of a man. Scaramouche, will you do the fandango? Thunderbolt and lightning, very, very frightening me. Magnifico! I'm just a poor boy, nobody loves me. He's just a poor boy from a poor family. Spare him his life from this monstrosity. Easy come, easy go, will you let me go? Bismillah, no, we will not let you go. Let him go. Bismillah, we will not let you go. Let him go. Bismillah, let me go. Let me go. Never, never, never let me go. Oh, mamma mia, mamma mia. Mamma mia, let me go. Beelzebub has the devil put aside for me. For me, for me. So you think you can stone me and spit in my eye? So you think you can love me and leave me to die? Oh, baby, can't do this to me, baby. Just gotta get
Sorry about that. Yeah, I play the whole song right to the end. And you know why? Because, quite honestly, what happens is you got to sing the whole thing. You even do the opera part, okay? And you jump around and, bang your head. It is a full Wayne's World moment there. And honestly, you got to love life, okay? You got to dance around. You got to have fun. You got to sing. You just got to fucking do that. Because that's part of being a normal human, and they smash the fuck out of that in the school system and on mainstream. They say, oh, well, going dancing is dangerous, and they always say it's so dangerous if you get to a large group of people and you have some drinks and you go dancing. That's so dangerous. Fuck that. I worked back in Wild Wild West 1980s on the Strip. Okay, come on. I was here in Calgary during Electric Avenue days. Okay, yeah, shit got out of control some of the time. That's what happens when you have a couple thousand people drinking like Vikings, and that's where we come from. That's the truth. I am a millennial, one of the first ones. I'm Generation X. I was born after the baby boomers, and I was there. We were trained to drink like Vikings. But you know what? We calmed the fuck down. We stopped drinking and driving. Mothers Against Drinking Driving did a fucking awesome thing. Okay? People can learn in large quantities. That's what's not talked about on mainstream is always be afraid of this and be afraid of that and don't do this and don't do that. Jesus. Use some kindergarten common sense, okay? Fucking wake up and realize that if you know how to sing and dance, you live longer. You have a better life. And I don't give a fuck if you're good at dancing or singing, because I'm not good at either. And I will still bang my head at Wayne's World at, the appropriate moment. I will try to do my operatic best. But I don't give a fuck because usually the music is so loud and the friends are so tight and we are smiling so much that we have one of those days when we wake up in the morning and our face aches from smiling so much and our legs ache from dancing so much and we're wrung out and we're sitting on the couch and the sun is coming up and we're looking at our best friend next to us going, Jesus, that was epic. I wish that for everybody. I want people to wake up in the morning going, holy fuck, that was epic. And I don't care if they're librarians and accountants and they just did a three-dimensional spreadsheet that calculated 1,000 different things in real time and they go, holy fuck, that was epic, man. That was fucking. You are cool with me, man. Okay, and if you're not hanging out with guys like me who like big bonfires and bigger sound systems and light shows and cool fucking bands and shit, if you're doing the super accounting thing, I'm gonna back you up 100%. Okay, but tell me that we've got to be afraid of each other? Fuck that. We do not, man. Any accountant that comes to parties with us is safe. Simple as that. Women are safe around CFTG and Radio Free Canada, and so is the rock and roll. And that's why I'm here. You can find us at www.positiveaction.ca, positive-action.ca. Radio Free Canada is our Facebook group, about 1,900 strong now. Thank you guys very much. And we're hanging out and having fun and doing the center wing thing. And at Positive Action U is where you can hang out. The cool guy with the cool sunglasses who is saying that we got to have a safe, my apologies. We have to have a safe world. And we have to be safe for women, men, real women. We've got to have every definition of both of those terms. And it's fine because I don't give a fuck. I just want you to have a cool life and fucking smile and wake up in the morning and say, that was epic. Okay? That's our station ID at CFTG. I kind of told you that it's not mainstream, right? Did I mention that? This is a dedication. Oh my God, it's a slow song. This is for everyone who has a slow song to dance with. You're tuned into the revolution. This is CFTG, my unconditional love for you, and that's the fucking truth. music from Greta Van Fleet right here. Check that one out. You're the One I Want. Get on YouTube, too. They've got a lot going on. Oh, by the way, that was the sound of me taking the tone arm off the record. Did you hear that? You could hear it, and then all of a sudden it ended. That's what happens when I play vinyl music. So if you hear the noise, the snap, crackle, and pop, please do not adjust your set. I'm one of those guys left over from 1980s radio. When we used to pick up radio, I would start my day by getting a stack of records. It was so cool. 1985, hi to all of my friends from CKIQ in Kelowna, BC, where I started off my radio career. Yeah, I've been around. We used to be the guys employed in the bar because we knew how to run the equipment, and that's just about it. Gonna be honest. Okay. I am Darren Howard. It is CFTG, broadcasting from Calgary, Alberta. It was just about minus 30 degrees, including wind chill, outside my front door this morning. But we're fine. We're Canadians. We can handle that one. Coming up tomorrow, we're going to be talking about more truth in taxes, the banking system, and exactly what's going on. And so on Monday, we basically raised a big middle finger to everything that we were just fed up with. Tuesday, we talked about corporations sucking the life out of everything. And then today we're talking about COVID reality and some science. So, we've got exciting things coming up on Friday, reasons to celebrate and how to save the world. We're going to save the world by growing food and sharing. The opposite of banks and corporations. Yes, indeed. Pay attention. Banks and corporations, they're going to fucking hate this part. Okay, so make sure you tune in, and thanks for joining me if you're one of our initial listeners. Okay, so didn't that sound so fucking cheesy, eh? Thanks for calling, thanks for listening if you're one of the 3 people listening. Okay, remember, YouTube numbers and all numbers and reporting are fake. The statistics that we gather up, we find out that basically if you're a left wing or a center wing person, you are cut out of the numbers. So you're not spreading hate and greed, so you don't get statistics. That's just the way it works. So don't worry about it. Keep your voice going. If you're talking the truth and nobody else is, you're at least talking the truth, and we'll back you up. The truth about COVID, what we've covered today, and this is what the controversy should boil down to. The vaccine was supposed to work, didn't. Want our money back. Number 2, and I'm actually going to throw this one in on you. Where's the independent third party anything on anything? Usually, we have independent third parties who sit outside and say this is just what the statistics are. But a science teacher woke me up to one thing, COVID, that blew me away. He goes, 8th grade science, so let's back all the way up and say, Dr. Tam and Justin Trudeau, you have to explain this. Not saying we hate you, not saying that we want you fired or thrown into jail until after the inquiry. But what we're saying right now is you keep talking about models. You're saying, well, we're modeling this, so therefore we're doing that. We're modeling this, therefore we're doing that. What they're saying is they model something, come to a conclusion without testing, and then they put, policy around it. That's Trudeau, that's Tam, the head of the Canadian Health Authority. They use models. And the 8th grade science teacher said straight out, we use models to form hypotheses that we test, and then we come to a conclusion and action. That's exactly what we do. We don't model something and then say this is going to happen, what we say, and then that we have to do this. We model something, say this is going to happen, and test it. But there's been no testing whatsoever. I'm going to come back with something on testing that's going to blow a lot of people away, too. But remember that Dr. Tam and Justin Trudeau, and by proxy, Jagmeet Singh, they haven't answered the simple modeling question asked by an 8th grade science teacher. Why are you using models, and where's your third-party evidence? You don't have either, because you haven't presented it. Now, the Emergency Act came around. We're going to be talking about the Emergency Act and exactly what's going on with your rights and Bill C-11. That's coming up next. But I got something to drink here because, we were in the second half of the show and we were all singing like to 2 songs in a row and we had a slow dance. So, that kind of makes you thirsty, right? We'll be right back, okay? That's what we're talking about. Oh, by the way, www.positive.action.ca is the website. I'm Darren Howard. I'm a real person. Thank you very much. Okay, we'll be right back after Fleetwood Mac of the Vinyl Turntables. Man.
If I could turn the page in time, then I'd rearrange just a day or two. Close my eyes, but I couldn't find a way, so I'll settle for one day to believe in you. Tell me lies. Tell me lies, tell me sweet little lies. Tell me lies. Oh no, you can't disguise. No, you can't disguise. Tell me lies, tell me sweet little lies. Though I'm not making plans, I hope that you understand there's a reason why. Close your eyes. No more broken hearts. We're better off apart. Let's give it a try. Tell me lies. Tell me lies, tell me sweet little lies. Tell me lies. Oh no, you can't disguise. No, you can't disguise. Tell me lies, tell me sweet little lies. If I could turn the page in time, then I'd rearrange just a day or two. Close my eyes, but I couldn't find a way, so I'll settle for one day to believe in you. Tell me lies. Tell me lies, tell me sweet little lies. Tell me lies. Oh no, you can't disguise. Oh, you can't disguise. Tell me lies, tell me sweet little lies. Tell me lies. Oh no, you can't disguise. Tell me lies, tell me sweet little lies.
Music right there. CFTG, the snap, crackle, and pop of super happy, well-produced Fleetwood Mac. Tango in the Night is the album, and, that was just Stevie Nicks and, oh my goodness, my brain just totally went off music for a second there. Stevie Nicks and the rest of Fleetwood Mac, there for your spectacularly, Under the Headphones album. This really is Tango in the Night. It's one of those Under the Headphones albums because it's so wide. When you listen to it with the studio headphones, oh my! So you'll have a chance to hang out with us, and we'll even lend you our headphones from time to time if you're really cool and just actually, even if you're not really cool, some of my friends are not really cool, but they're really cool. Do you get me? Does that even make sense? So, with my dichotomy going on right now, I am still Darren Howard. This is still CFTG, taking a very serious statistical look and up our, a 2x4 up our ass kind of look at COVID, because we're trying to be logical and make sense. The opposite of mainstream. We're trying very hard right now to make sense of a senseless situation. Now, this is an important point from a center wing, non-fucking nutbar point of view. Okay? You said there's zero flu. That's exactly what happened at the beginning of all of this, okay? At the very beginning of all of this, you'll remember we all saw mainstream news show videos of people dying on the streets in China. Okay, you remember seeing that? It was on every major newscast. Okay, we saw it all over the internet. It was plastered, and they were saying, this is fucking serious. And China is locking down a kabillion people, okay, for real, in real time. So you take a look at this and you go, holy crap! Okay, and then they created models and they started doing things. Tee-hee. And then at the beginning of it all, instead of saying that this is what you do to improve your natural immune system, which is get outside, socialize, get your feet in the dirt, and make sure that you get outside and you socialize. That's how you improve your immune system, quite naturally. Okay? They didn't talk about that at all. So from the beginning, they said, by the way, there's no normal flu. That was the first major red light that went on for me and every journalist. They said, no, we have 0% flu. It's all COVID. And they said, if you test, it will say, if you have the flu, it'll say that it's COVID. They said it straight out. So we were going, well, how could there be no flu? Because there's also 4 other strains of regular flu that everybody gets. And then there's a couple 7 strains of flu that sort of float around and measly, that make their way around. These types of flu, which are also called COVID or whatever, okay, they have all of these types of names for them. These things go through us all the time, viruses and our condition, responding to the different bacteria and, viruses that we carry all the time. It just sort of comes and goes. So every year, less than 1% of the population is killed by respiratory, ailments like the flu. So before this, they said from the hospital, well, it's the death from flu and flu-like symptoms. And because they had to say, come on, this is a big category, flu and flu-like symptoms. And then they said, well, no, there's no more flu, there's only COVID. And then they started saying, well, if you had a car accident but you came in, that's related to COVID. This happened for real. It was audited. Doctors started calling them out on it. And now there's even worse things happening surrounding this. But go to the beginning and say, what? There's no flu? There's no normal flu. And you're not telling us how to build our natural immune system that carries and fights off the flu on a regular basis every year? I'm sorry. That's just ridiculous. My doctor told me straight out that sometimes you can get the flu here and it can hang around 3 to 5 months. That's a normal version of the flu. This is the normal flu in action. 3 to 5 months. It can stay in your system. Your body's still responding to what it's got. And he said to me, and I said to him, well, how could I get the flu again 3 or 4 months later because I don't get sick? And he goes, no, you can carry it a long time. And then they came out with this ludicrous statement of long COVID. Okay. It's just a center wing argument. It's just saying straight out, fuck, okay? You're saying there's no flu. You're not telling us how to build our natural immune system to fend off something we fend off every year. You're not telling us that there are extreme more mortalities. You're not doing anything to prepare yourself for another pandemic that's going to come. In fact, you're lowering the quality and the level of service and paying yourself more. That's the government and the medical authority. Sorry, but I'm not sorry in the slightest. You're listening to CFTG. My unconditional love for you, and that's a fact. The work shoes are going on. We're going to come back, and you wouldn't believe what's coming up next.
I'm about to rise, I'm about to shine. I'm about to leave this all behind. I'm about to check, I'm about to change. I'm about to realign, connect, and rearrange. Howling at the moon, kryptonite the sun. But living in the days for weeks and months and years, I'm done. The ace is in the base, the sign that says to stop. Well, I'm about to drop, and my heart sings. I watch the clock tick tock, been saving all the green that I got. I can't wait to kick off my work shoes. I watch the clock tick tock, been saving all the green that I got. I can't wait to kick off my work shoes. I'm about to find, I'm about to calibrate and shift my state of mind. I'm about to flux, I'm about to flow. I'm about to blow. Time to start again, time to move my feet. Life is but a fortune cookie puzzle to complete. A record's built to spin, the bubble wants to pop. So I'm about to drop, and my heart sings. I watch the clock tick tock, been saving all the pain that I got. I can't wait to kick off my work shoes. And once I hit the spot, that's the greatest feeling I got. I can't wait to kick off my work shoes. But I'm not leaving till the whistle blows. I'm not leaving till the whistle blows. Watch the clock tick tock, been saving all the pain that I got. I can't wait to kick off my work shoes. And once I hit the spot, that's the greatest pain that I got. I can't wait to kick off my work shoes. And my heart sings. The clock tick tock, been saving all the green that I got. I can't wait to kick off my work shoes.
Music right there while I'm fighting with the vinyl on the other turntable. No, that's happening for real. Welcome to the show. Hi there, I'm Darren Howard, and currently I've got Oasis in my hand, and I'm trying to line it up for the, doing this, and then this is what it sounds like when you're actually doing live radio, okay? And that's what I'm doing right now. And yes, sometimes we bump into machines and stuff like this, and for some reason, our computer is possessed. So it's doing weird things, right? You know what? I've never done that before, right? Since the 1980s, I've never, ever really shown people how we do our shit. Okay, in the studio. It's sort of like, if you want to enjoy a restaurant, you never go in the kitchen, okay? If you ever want to destroy the whole restaurant feeling and everything about the restaurant, just, it's a sacred place. I was a chef. That paid for lots and lots of, divorces and hangovers for me back when, college days and stuff like that. So I was a chef for years. Yeah. Don't go in the kitchen. But usually, I'm kind of inviting you into the studio because we do neat things here. We have neat equipment, and anybody can learn how to use it. It's simple. It's not that hard. This is not rocket science. It is a science. So if you're interested in this kind of stuff, what we advise you to do is go online, say, how do I podcast? Start promoting yourself a little bit. You can even podcast now like a radio station on your phone. There's production software there for free to do that, right? Don't pay money when you start out, okay? Don't be a broke-ass DJ thing and try and get all the best equipment right away. Learn how to do your craft and then start speaking the truth, because we need backup. And if you want to help us out and you live in the Calgary area, www.positive-action.ca. You can connect to us there. I'm Darren Howard. Find me on Facebook on Radio Free Canada and on @PositiveActionU, on Twitter @PositiveActionU. And I'm a real person. I'll try and get back to you. And then, we'll try not to inundate you with things like us trying to queue up records in the background. Well, we're not doing the radio thing. Hang on, what is this? Oh, man, did you recognize that? You recognize that? Did you hear that? Coming up next, music from Oasis, and we're going to finish up the show. We're out of time. I just looked at the time, and I was just like, holy smokes. We're, at our recording time, the internet time. We try to keep it under an hour to accommodate some of the people who share our transmission worldwide. So we really appreciate you hanging right until the end. So, and for everybody else on the regular North American internet, we've got music from Oasis coming up. But I'm going to just say this. I love you, man. And woman, and exactly the people who are listening right now. This is the beginning of me getting back on the air again and getting back out in the streets and making things happen. So these broadcasts, of course, will be up on the internet forever. Eventually, you'll be able to find me again once they shut down the internet, because we're pretty sure that's going to happen. And that's the end, the shocking thing for every millennial who's listening. Shutting down the free speech on the internet is the ultimate goal of the government and the corporations right now. They want a small number of editors who monopolize all of the news to have the final say and the only say on what the government releases as facts. And mainstream always backs up the government when it comes to points of corporate fascism. Whether that's the corporations getting to hold everybody hostage by monopolizing food, or the government holding everybody hostage by monopolizing the flu. Right now in Calgary, Alberta, there's a law saying that we cannot gather in large numbers or organize to gather in large numbers to protest the government's action. That's for our own good. This is for real. It's in Calgary right now. City Hall, that constitutes 0.0003% of the population, has said that 30 to 40% of the population who lands on our side is not allowed to organize, gather, or protest. This has to be the most disturbing development ever in Canadian history regarding our culture, what we're capable of doing in the future, and the potential for our children and for our seniors. If our elders cannot gather and give us wise and sage advice, if our children cannot gather and hear that advice and use their brains that they are blessed with to start with, if we are not capable of peacefully gathering to ask the questions that I asked in the last hour, what kind of society are we making? Where are we going? What are we doing? Because this is not realistic. What's happening right now is that we are in a sea of misinformation from radical wings on every side, and the government and the corporate news are becoming their own radical wing, not to be questioned and always to be answered. That's wrong. The government and the news broadcasters should be beholden to us, the Canadian, the people who built and maintain everything. And just because the banks have determined that we're not worthy a home or food doesn't make it true. It does come down to authority having just carte blanche on doing anything that they want and never being held responsible. At www.positive-action.ca, we're going to ask that real question. And when they shut down the free internet and shut down broadcasts like this one you've just been listening to, we're going to keep things going. But we're networking on the street right now. Because we saw during Tunisia, during the during the Arab Spring, the revolutions that occurred against the military dictatorships that were going on. The revolution, they shut down the free internet just like they're shutting it down now in Canada. They stop people from tweeting. They stop people from broadcasting. That's wrong. I don't give a fuck if I disagree with you. I'm going to defend your right to broadcast. The internet is supposed to be free. The government, a very, very small number of individuals, 0.003% of the population that constitutes the decision-making government, the unelected bureaucrats that consist of the decision-making government, are not responsible to you. They've become behind these stone walls, and a viper is in those walls, and that one is called subservience. We're here to broadcast all about that. And that's it. Thanks for joining me. I'm Darren Howard. This is Rock Radio. Just because you got tattoos and long hair, or you've got accounting structure and short hair, just because you take care of kids, or just because you have a small business or work in small business, just because you are part of the corporate slave labor that is the corporate nightmare, just because you're all these things doesn't mean your voice and your presence doesn't count. We count. We're not all in this together. All of these kindergarten questions I've asked in the last hour upend any concept of moral authority by this government or any other government. And we have to question on who is watching the watchers. Why are they collecting data? Why are they making us into a third world country with no jobs and no hope? Please join me tomorrow, and thanks for hanging out. I'm Darren Howard. You're listening to Radio Free Canada, and that's it for the day. This is one of my favorite songs. Thanks for hanging out. I'm with you, okay? I'm with you.
How many special people change? How many lives are living strange? Where were you while we were getting high? Slowly walking down the hall, faster than a cannonball. Where were you while we were getting high? Someday you will find me caught beneath the landslide, in a champagne supernova in the sky. Someday you will find me caught beneath the landslide, in a champagne supernova, a champagne supernova in the sky. Wake up the dawn and ask her why. Dream a dream, she never dies. Wipe that tear away now from your eye. Slowly walking down the hall, faster than a
the